Okay, What's up, everyone? Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Another day, another live stream. And we got a visitor. Small little bird. Yo, what's up? So let's see if we get some interesting prize action, as we have some news right now. Over here, Thursday, June 20th, today, 2:30 p.m. Central European Time. How are you doing? Everyone feeling okay, feeling good? Second last day of the work week, so to speak, right? The market's still open for 1.5 days before it is weekend once again, and generally during the weekend we expect a sideways ranging structure. So hopefully before the weekend we still get some volatility on the charts. Also, the markets are open again, at least New York. Yesterday they were closed. So yeah, it might be a bit of a recipe for some volatility either today or tomorrow. In this live stream, as always, we're going to cover Elliott waves, right? And then together watch the local price action. And yeah, of course, eventually call it a day. But then after the analysis, we go into chatting and Q&A. So, I'm ready. Maybe a band-aid. Good morning. Sibel, first. Second, you are close though. Seriga, give me music. Welcome. I love the new thumbnail. Cheers. Yeah, so I'll before I start the analysis and finish saying hi, I'll quickly explain what we're doing with all the thumbnails, because you've probably seen many different thumbnails coming by, and there's actually some things I'm working on. So I'll provide a bit of an update, so you kind of know what the hell is happening, right? Yo, Kubs, Nunal. I don't know the words. Christine, welcome. Barbie, good to have you here as well. Oh yes, Zed, Sina, Brahim, Ghost Wolf, Airsoft. Airsoft, interesting sport. A friend of mine has an airsoft gun and did some airsoft matches as well. Sina. Maria, Stefano, let the healing begin. Yeah, so with regards to the thumbnails, before I jump into the analysis, so as the channel is growing, right, we passed the 12k subscribers, and it starts to become more and more serious. Of course, takes more and more portion of my day. Like YouTube takes more and more time, of course. But I do want to have a professional looking channel, if you know what I mean. So I am currently... Okay, so there's two things happening. First of all, you know, if I look at what the channel does at the moment and the stuff I'm doing, there are a couple of things that I can give to Jeroen. So he has a side job next to his studies, right? So he has work, and it will offload me a little bit as well, because the bigger the channel becomes, the more time, the more stress, the more things happen. So at least we can start with that and then see how things continue. And he has some basic editing skills as well, which are the thumbnails that you're seeing right now. So he's the one making those thumbnails, because my focus in the upcoming months till the end of this year is going to be branding, meaning I want to have a channel that looks professional, that doesn't have the random Bitcoin backgrounds in the thumbnails all the time. So, you know, all the Bitcoin logos that I have in my... So I'm trying to go away from that and have a more... So it, you know, like this. I mean, it's not necessarily a problem. It just looks less branded. You know what I mean? Like the colors of the channel are blue, green, white. So I'm looking for thumbnails. Yes, we can still include a Bitcoin logo, but I want it to be more of one thing. Like I want it to be more of a match. How can I say it? Like it should be well aligned with the colors of the branding. So I don't mind having the same background for all of the YouTube videos, and then a slightly different one for all of the altcoins, and a slightly different one for all of the macro, so that it's like aligned. And preferably the colors are going to be green and blue together with white, as that are the colors of Koens and what Koens is for many years already. Even before the channel, the Koens brand was already there. So I think, yeah, I'm working towards changing the branding of the channel, which therefore means we are just putting different thumbnails online. And if you have an opinion, let us know. If you think it's really shit, let us know. If you think it's amazing, let us know. So you have a voice. And Jeroen is currently making some of these thumbnails, and he's testing stuff. And very soon I will also have a meeting and start a branding trajectory with the company. And so Jeroen is going to be in that trajectory as well. I'm going to take him along, and we're going to brand the channel more. So probably a new banner coming, new thumbnails that are aligned with the colors of the channel, how I want the channel to be. Like, I want it to be professional. It should provide like trust, a respected environment, confidence. There's a couple of goals attached to the branding, and then after the branding comes the continuation of content with similar thumbnails, and so yeah. And then also after content comes marketing, because then it's really going to be more of a big YouTube channel is going to eventually turn into a business, right? So once a channel is growing and growing and growing, it's going to become more of a business. But I want to be prepared for when that happens, because so far the growth has been very stable. So I prefer to already prepare myself, have the branding in place and different fundamentals. And then if the YouTube channel grows, that is when it eventually becomes more of a business. And I just want to make sure that things are prepared. So that's what's going to happen. So that is why you see different thumbnails all the time. Especially with the blue shirt. Yeah, so actually the picture that Jeroen used is a picture of me speaking in America in Pebble Beach for a company called Capgemini. That's where the picture is from. So that is the thumbnail of today's video, this picture here. So he took this one for the video instead of my old gaming picture when I was a player for Team Acer back in the day as a professional gamer. We shot this picture. Actually, a friend of mine was the photographer for Acer, and he took this picture. So this is my gaming picture, basically. So, yeah. What's up, Jeroen? Bina, welcome. You're right on topic. And what do you think about altcoins since those have been declining hard? What's up, Florian? Well, the thing, like, okay, so of course this is a double-edged question, because my opinion about altcoins in general is, for me, less is more. I focus on trading Bitcoin. I don't trade alts at all. Now, with regards to Elliott wave counts, it's good that some of the alts actually went down because they are ranging. Weekly time frame still probability is higher to continue up, but many of the alts actually had this structure. Recognize this on some of the alt charts, and they have a big wick here as well. And it's actually quite nice for alts to fill that wick and that inefficiency there. Yeah, I don't mind the alts going down, but on a weekly time frame, most of the alts still high probabilities to continue the trend. But I don't really focus on alts at all. Like during the day, if I'm not doing an altcoin related stream, I never look at alts. Oh, they're back at it again. What's up, Zelo? Cheers, give me music. I can also inquire my opinion. We study marketing and PR, see what she thinks or has to add. I mean, feel free, get in touch. I spoke to 2 companies at the moment in the Netherlands, and those are companies where I know people inside. And those are like, one is really big, and the other one is a bit smaller. The one is a team of 4, the other one is a team of 800. but I know both of these companies because of some people inside. So, and those are both marketing companies, and they can build websites, do branding, of course, marketing in general, everything that it entails. So yeah, we'll see. Bettina, welcome. Good to have you here. Andy, welcome. A distinguished gentleman. Christine, thanks. Didn't encourage confidence. Yeah, good point. So the thumbnail of, by the way, we go into the analysis. I always in the beginning like to have a little bit of a chat. So of course, yeah, the thumbnails like these ones, these look more like, how can I say it? So first of all, I like to say this. My thumbnails back in the day, I'm not even sure if people know, were like this. And then I had the Bitcoin logo on the left, right? And then I had Elliott Wave's Bitcoin, and then my picture like this. And then Douwe improved this. So Douwe actually made these thumbnails, or at least he made the design. So I just choose the backgrounds myself, but he made the design with Bitcoin in the bottom and my picture cut out, and then Elliott Waves and the logo in the left top. So that's what Douwe did, which is amazing. Big Ledusky. So he did an incredible job to improve the quality of the thumbnail, and now it's just the next phase. It's like, I like the design, but I need to get rid of the Bitcoin backgrounds because it looks a bit unserious, like you don't really put effort in the channel. It's like, oh, I just go to Google, I download this random Bitcoin background from whatever platform, use it as a background. Like I want it to show more class, you know, it should be more professional, more class, like you know, more inviting, like actually someone that knows his stuff, which is, you know, what we do here. So yeah. That's going to happen in the upcoming 6 months. It's going to be a bit of a trajectory, and I think for Jeroen's development, as he's going to be part of the channel as well, I think it's very interesting to bring him along and show him how bigger companies work with building designs, branding, as well as websites, as that is stuff that he does himself as well. And besides that, he'll be in the community adminning and you know, more stuff, emails eventually as well. So yeah, good you're here, Christine. Cheers. Alts kind of follow Bitcoin, and when they rarely go, of course, to it's just gambling. I mean, alts can very well be traded, of course. I mean, arguably, Bitcoin is gambling for people that are part, like, I guess if you're in the stock market or the traditional market, you probably think crypto in general is gambling. But we have a lot of experience here on Bitcoin, so we have probabilities. And same with alts, it's all probabilities, and they are not difficult to trade. But some of the shit coins that just launched, you can't do a clear Elliott wave analysis on those. You know? So preferably you have some solid, like, history. Mirovsky, welcome. Job, entrepreneur yourself. I mean, yeah, I'm always free to or open to see a portfolio. Looks like a typical crypto bro logo. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's too simplistic. It doesn't show professionalism. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like what you say there. Today I'll focus on Bitcoin for now, and then we'll see what happens. If Bitcoin is going to be very boring, we might look at some alts. But makes me think, on Sunday I might not be able to do an Elliott. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do an Elliott wave analysis, but mind you, it might be in the morning, 11 a.m. ish, 10 a.m. ish Central European time. So for the Americans, probably by the time you wake up, I'm already finished. And that is because in the afternoon I might go to friends, but I'll let you know later. In the right direction. Yeah, I mean, so like Jeroen, he immediately got into doing some thumbnail stuff, and I'm actually very impressed. He said, I barely have any editing experience, I only know the basics, and he's done a very nice job. Very creative. I like the proactivity as well, you know, which I highly reward. Do you trade other portfolio? No, I only trade crypto. Yeah. What's up, ZF, by the way? Andrew, welcome. Iliagos, welcome. Sir, shall I start reading the Elliott book first on my own, or journeying will be better? Okay, so first of all, like, look, if you join a membership, I earn a little bit of money because you pay me. But what I recommend is actually to not start there. I recommend to first read the book and check out this playlist, right? So go to playlist on the channel. Go to the Elliott Wave beginner guide and everything. First, check all of these videos. And yes, you can get the book yourself as well. And then always feel free to join Gold specifically, because Gold is where I answer all the questions. I provide feedback on everyone that is sharing their accounts. We look at alts. We do some private live streams where I answer more questions. So in Gold, it's like all about shortening the learning curve by having a lot of feedback from someone that, of course, does it as a, like full time, I suppose. But I mean, if you just start out, why not start with the free stuff first? Of course, a book, you pay for a book. But there's in the description, if you go down, there is a section, Elliott Wave Education. Go there, and there's a couple of links. Check those links out, right? So there's a website there, which is, of course, free. I think I linked the playlist, I linked the book, and the Gold membership. I have a daily routine video actually in Diamond. I might actually talk about daily routine sometime in like a live stream or something. Iliagos, I just got the hat too. Nice, there you go. I'm happy to hear that, Iliagos. Enjoy it. Make sure to send me a picture if you want to. I love to see it. Koen's voice puts me in a calm mood. Logic Mindset, welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah, I'm not generally a very screamy person, but welcome. Good to have you here. Cheers. How to download? You buy the book. I mean, I don't download books. I always buy books. I support the creator. So it's from Frost and Prechter. Elliott Wave Principle is the name of the book. It's from Elliott Wave International. Yeah. Cheers, Vishal. Okay. Yeah. Make sure to send me Iliagos. Okay, let's start, shall we? So we have some local, a little bit at least, of volatility today. There is two counts that I keep an eye on locally. The first one is a bigger zigzag to the downside. Now, for that to increase in probabilities, we at least need to change market structure, preferably. Because the bearish scenario would then be end of 4, looking for a ABC, and then eventually a move down to move towards the target area here. Probabilities increase once we start at least changing some market structure, seeing some bearish CVDs. Now this is very quick. What I will do now is zoom out and start on the higher time frame first. And also quickly refresh my browser here. Is the 5-wave finished for the ending, leading a diagonal? Yeah, we're going to cover that. It's all probabilities. So the thing is, we're looking for a bounce in both cases. Either this is your low and you move up, or you go towards 63K and you move up, right? So either or, you need a plan to have a potential long in this area or a potential long in this area with clear invalidation. Right now, personally, even though I was asleep during this move up, but I explained in the morning update why it was interesting to be part of this move up. And if you were, then well managed, probably stop is already at break even, maybe close to a take profit 1. You hit the little order block here, and we have some resistance just above price. However, all of the waves in the diagonal have to be a 3-wave structure. And we can count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, maybe look for another wave 5. So the thing is, the probabilities, it's difficult to have the probabilities already bullish as long as we don't pass the resistance here, right? Because your invalidation is taking out the high for another leg to the downside and then move up. However, locally, the probabilities for a move down only increase if you at least change market structure. For now, it's higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, ta 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 ta. Right? So as long as this happens, there's no reason for me to look for any shorts. In other words, like changing market structure as a bare minimum. So I'm going to cover this in, of course, in more detail. But look, we're looking for a bounce to the upside, either from the current low that we have locally or one more at 63K. And yeah, I mean, it's no financial advice, but it's good to have a plan for both options. Separate sections. Let me quickly answer this one. That's easy. You do that by having horizontals on your chart. So this is simply a horizontal line. So it's this one here, right? Horizontal ray. Just put it on the chart, then change the name to whatever you like for example, in my case, these ones, and then I just put them somewhere in the middle, and then voila, separate section. So that is how you do that. How is Ashley? She's good. She's currently in South Africa. We would actually be in the Seychelles now, and I would be making content from the Seychelles. The problem is that the weather was so shit and so much thunder and rain that eventually we decided not to go, together with friends from South Africa that were also coming. And then the friends in South Africa say, well, we're staying, and my wife just rebooked a ticket to South Africa. However, I was there for a whole month already in March, and now I just want to focus on my work. Like, I was okay with going to the Seychelles for a week, but I just came pretty much back from South Africa, and we go back again in October because of a couple of birthdays. So I was like, I prefer to just continue and be here for all of you guys. So she's there. Do you compare your analysis with those of? No, I don't look at anyone else's analysis because it's a distraction. I prefer to do my own Elliott wave analysis, and I never look online. It's And I never look online because I, in the past, did this, and then I happened to be correct, and someone I thought was better at that moment is incorrect, and then I trust his analysis more than mine, and then I'm like, fuck, I should have just trusted myself. So eventually, once you get better, you start to trust yourself more, and you're never really gonna look at others anymore. And I never look at others. I just look at my own counts. Yeah. So. Rob, that is this one here. Fixed range volume profile. We are going to 62K. 63 is still a target with additional support. This is a signals question, so I won't answer this for now. I can explain it at the end of my analysis a little bit, but honestly, DJ Katera, I pretty much explained this in the Koens Setups channel, which is absolutely free. It's not where I explain why a certain Elliott wave setup or trade is interesting. It's the first link in the description. So it's completely free. It's in Discord and in Telegram. I really need to update Telegram, gotta say. I'm so bad on Telegram, and I'm so more active on Discord than Telegram, not gonna lie. But just check that link, and that is where so there's you will enter the Koens Trades channel, which is hindsight, and the Koens Setups channel. Follow the few steps. You'll get in the Setups channel where I talk about this stuff. When people come, you stop giving analysis. Instead, you... thoughts on the Tether news because of... this is fundamental stuff, which I don't follow maybe a Band-Aid, so I actually have no idea what it means. When people come, you stop giving instead, you teach them. If they are not up for it, I leave them because they are looking for easy way. Yeah, correct. True. Okay, let's start, shall we? Enough chatting at the beginning of the stream. So we're going to start with the analysis, get that one done, and then continue chatting and Q&A. Let's have a look at my folders here. Usually in the live streams, I like to give a full overview of what we are looking for, which is what I will do once again. And then in the evening, it will be a more local short update. So the mornings generally is like daily 4 hour, right? And then the live stream is complete. And then in the evening, a more local lower time frame update nowadays. So, okay. So of course, but I always like, especially with live stream, to start on the higher time frames because it's important for the perspective. Right? We got to know where we are. USDT. Wow. Imagine you have a lot of USDT in your account and it's delisted. I better have a look at this. Please, can you send a link somewhere in like general chat Discord or something? Maybe a Band-Aid. Holy moly. Imagine. Because I do like to keep my stuff in USDT actually. Okay, let's start. What's the minute? 31. Wow, we've already been online for 30 minutes. Insane. Anyway, on the weekly time frame, simple, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure, highest probability bullish count with inside wave 3, a 5 wave impulsive move. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eventually another leg up for wave 5. The target for your wave 4, 382.05, taken from the low to the high of 3, 57.6, 53.3k, invalidation 49.3. We're looking for 5 to the upside. The wave 5 target area is very, very big, 78.6k, 110.6k, right? However, as we get more information on the lower time frames, we can get a lot more specific. This is a weekly target area, which of course is insane. I think it's like 40%, someone mentioned yesterday or something. Yeah, so really big, but that's no problem because as we get more information on a daily time frame and then a 4-hour time frame and then 15-minute time frame, we can have a daily target box and then a 4-hour box and then a 15-minute target box, and then we can get smaller, smaller, smaller. But at the moment, we only have the weekly data. Right, so the weekly information. When wave 5 in green is finished, you finish the yellow wave 3. And then we're looking for a correction to the downside. Now, because this wave 2 was very shallow, only touching the 0.382 Fibonacci taken from the low to the high of wave 1, which is a very shallow target for a wave 2, the probabilities increase, thanks to the rule of alternation in Elliott waves, for a wave 4 to be a deeper corrective structure. In other words, retracing to the 382 to the 05 area, taken then from the low to wherever the high is. Now, what is common, however, for a wave 4 is that a wave 4 of a higher degree, in this case, your yellow count is the high degree count, and your green count is the lower degree count. So a wave 4 of a higher degree likes to retrace to the wave 4 of a lower degree. And this is your price action of the wave 4 of a lower degree. So naturally, therefore, the target for your wave 4 would be 73.8 to 56.5. Now, it's not a requirement, it's not a rule that a wave 4 has to retrace to the price action of a wave 4 of a lower degree, but it is something that you tend to see in the market, and therefore it is interesting. Even though before we actually even start a wave 4 and start to actually move to the downside, we're probably still going to be like, it will take a couple of months before we actually start this one here at the moment, right? Okay, let's zoom in. So the weekly time frame, higher probabilities for the bullish scenarios, and only if you hit 49.3k, that is when you at least start to increase some probabilities for the bears, or at least the bearish scenarios are going to be covered, but they're still low probabilities. You really need to go below 40 to give the bearish scenarios any like very high probability at the moment. Of course, locally, we look for this, right? You know it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We have a finished wave 1 looking for 2. Common target for 2 is the green box. 886 is very rare. Invalidation is the low. Preferably a wave 2 finishes after the 0.382 fib time, taken from the start to the end of 1. So therefore, we have to be aware of a bigger 3-wave structure, still lower prices to come, before a move to the upside, which is absolutely normal, right? You can see the target area goes down till 59.8k, and inside this target area, we have support between 62.6, 63.2K and 60.5 to 61.5K. Currently, by the way, we are also at support. Let's see if I still have that in my folder. Yeah, there we go. Which is the daily gap. We touched the high of the daily gap, 64.6K. Very often, once you hit a gap for the first time, you expect a reaction, and that is exactly what we see here. So we have some support. The moment you close a daily candle in the gap, it increases probabilities to lose this gap, move to the downside to 63.1K. After wave 2, we look for continuation up. Now, because of time, and therefore the possibility for a bigger three-wave corrective structure, right? Because if this is your low, it's made before the 382, so generally probabilities would be a bit higher to have a bigger three-wave corrective structure in 2. We have to at least consider a zigzag. And a zigzag is also a common structure in a wave 2. So let me actually do this now, because the diagonal is not invalidated with this push on, whatever. Let me just do this. I'll explain it. So we have a leading diagonal in a wave A, a 5-wave structure. Look for a 3-wave B and then a 5-wave C to the downside, right? Now your wave A is starting to come to an end, maybe even already ended. But what you're looking for is all of the waves have to be 3-wave structures. So a zigzag in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then eventually a 5. Not too easy to count a nice zigzag or zigzag family structure in the move down, double zigzag. So there is still the potential for a 3-waver to take out the low, maybe even before the weekend, and then start a move to the upside. The probabilities that wave 5 and therefore wave A is finished significantly increase, of course, if you can take the high, because you're not allowed in an ABC to take the high of A. So in other words, take this high, probabilities are higher, looking for higher prices in your wave B, right? But there's always the potential, and that is why in the probabilities, as price was moving down, I said, well, we're starting to look for a bounce towards the upside, either here or here. And the second here is on top of a support box, which is this blue box between 62.6, 63.1K. which is still above the invalidation of your diagonal being 62.2K. If price would move down and touch 62.2K, the diagonal is invalidated. Then in other words, right, if you do move down, this is, by the way, information I haven't yet told, but this is, I just think about this. If you do move down and touch 62.2K, then either your diagonal is finished, and we are going to be looking for a flat, or this move to the downside is a different structure. That is only stuff we have to think about when we actually move that low. But it just popped up in my head, so I wanted to communicate it. So yeah, we're looking for a bounce. Now with regards to the volume, price here moving to the downside, volume also moving to the downside. That's also what you like to see in a diagonal, and we just eventually move towards the upside. That's the goal. 382 to the 886 is your target for B, taken from the start to the current low that we have, 67K, 71.1K. Big area. That is why I like to use my additional resistance areas, right? Blue box here, 66.6, 67.1, 69.1, 69.7, 78 to 71.1K. After B, we want to see a wave C to the downside, which should be an impulsive structure to complete a zigzag in an ABC. If price can move up to 69K, the resistance area that I had on my chart here, then your target area for C is between 61.6 and 59.7K, which is in confluence with this support box, 60.5 to 61.5K. So that makes it quite interesting, right? So that is something to keep an eye on with regards to the bullish scenario on the daily, to then finish your wave 2 here after a zigzag ABC to the downside, after which then we look for price to continue its way to the upside. Well, we're going to talk about local price action in a little bit in more detail. Welcome, Adam. Good to have you here. Your bullish but eventually bearish scenario, from a psychology point of view, this one is the most interesting by far. is an expanding flat. 3-wave A, 3-wave B, 5-wave C. An expanding flat is also common in a wave 4, so that makes it interesting. But why it's so interesting from a psychology point of view is that you fake out all the bulls, all the moon boys, all the YOLOs, all the FOMOs, all the whatever, everyone, you know, you fake them out and then move down, hit all the stop losses, chuck, 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 everyone gets stopped out. And then at the low, as wave C as an impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure, and you take the low of A, of course, the mindset here is going to be bearish, right? This is greed, hype, FOMO, YOLO. At the bottom, it's panic selling, it's fear, it's drama, it's portfolio going to zero, it's bull market is finished, you know, all that. And then what we are going to be looking for is this. And then the people that are buying here and then are selling here are then going to buy here. So yeah, it's interesting from a psychology point of view. But what we're looking for here is a flat A, B, C. No? And inside, or the common target for B is on the chart, 77.9, 80.4. In B, WXY. That's currently what we're looking for. This move up looks best as a 3-wave structure, not a 5-wave impulsive structure. That is why we have a double zigzag WXY on the chart. Common target for X, 382,618. That is where we are at the moment. And you don't want to hit 61.1K. Right? 61.1K would significantly reduce the probabilities for a double zigzag to the upside in your B. If price moves up to the 1.618 at 84.5, probabilities significantly increase to continue to the upside. And continue the bull market. Now inside wave X, we need a 3-wave corrective structure. We've been keeping an eye on this flat. Of course, like price action is actually quite boring because it's just grinding to the downside for ages already. Like here, right? Man, like the whole week, nothing happened. But you have a 3-wave A, 3-wave B, 5-wave C to the downside here. This is exactly the same diagonal as the zigzag ABC, right? Same rules, same invalidation, same potential. Either 5 in, you look for one more low in 5 and then a move up. Don't want to hit 62.2. The main difference between the two is that after wave C here, you look for an impulse up, a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retracement continuation. In a zigzag, you look for a 3-wave corrective move up in B and then a move to the downside. That's your difference. So in other words, what matters is the move to the upside. The move to the upside, that is going to decide the probabilities for taking the highs or coming lower. Now it is summer, and generally summer months are a little bit slow with regards to the movement in the market. So I do expect to continue ranging between 74 and 56 for, unfortunately, still for a while actually. Probably we're not going to escape this range anytime soon. Your most bearish scenario, lowest probabilities at the moment, is a zigzag ABC, leading diagonal in A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bigger corrective structure in B, and then a C down. Common target for C1 to the 1.236, still above 49.3K, that's important. And in B, looking for a more sideways complex corrective structure, because ending wave B over here, as explained in many live streams as well as videos, has low probabilities, because low probabilities you can fit in here a very nice high probability 3-wave corrective structure, as wave B has to be a 3-wave structure. So yeah, if you want to end wave B at this high, and you have to choose this high, because this high on some charts took the high of this, you need either a zigzag, a flat, a triangle, or a WXY. Well, a zigzag ABC preferably ends here. That's not possible because the high was taken. Double zigzag WXY, Y didn't take the high of W in some charts, and the minimum target would be the 0.618, which is above all-time high for wave Y. Flat, not relevant because this is not a flat. This is also not a sideways double combo WXY here, ending somewhere there. So, and it's definitely not a triangle at the moment. So yeah, therefore, in this B, you're still going to be looking for a continuation. So we still expect a bounce to the upside to then finish a wave Y, B, and then move down. In other words, continue this range. But at the moment, lower probabilities because for wave Y, we still have to start wave Y. W is a zigzag structure, which means that in a sideways WXY, if you've watched the training video, you'll know exactly what I'll talk about now. WXY here, right? Playlist public on YouTube. In a sideways WXY, if wave W is a zigzag, wave Y cannot be a zigzag. The other structure, double zigzag, it can be, right? That's the difference. So make sure you check out WXY, this one here, right? And also make sure to check out the double zigzag video. You know what I talk about. That means that in wave Y, we then either have a flat as a scenario or a triangle. But we first need to wait till X is finished, which is then likely that same flat with then a diagonal to finish the flat. Okay. Interesting volume profile. We've been here for a while, right? Twice escaping above the value area high, move down, lose the point of control, back tested it, move to the downside. If we can move above 67K, probabilities increase for the bulls to move up to the value area high at 70.1K. Value area low, 62.7K. And yeah, that's pretty much it on all the different time frames. So let's then observe what's happening locally. We can remove this here. All the CVD divergences here, everything already played out. Ta-da. And your bearish scenario locally here is a zigzag or a WXY. Doesn't even really matter because your target is going to be the same. The 1 to the 1.236, as you can see here on the chart, we have rejected at the previous range here. Right, so between the 1 and the 1.236, common target area for C, common target area for Y. And if you start to, let's see, what is the volume? Yeah, so currently the highest amount of volume is in the high here. So if we are looking for an impulse, then preferably this is your wave 3, and you're going to be looking for a wave 4 and then a wave 5 to the upside. Which in other words means, as a bare minimum, if you take this, if you hit 65.4, the probabilities will increase to move to the downside further and take out the low because it invalidates a wave 4. Now locally here, you can see I have a target box to the downside because, as mentioned earlier, all of the waves in this diagonal to the downside have to be 3-wave corrective structures. And that is because of wave 1 being a 3-waver, and then 2, 3, 4, and then we have 5. Now, if this is a 3-wave corrective structure, it needs to be some sort of a double zigzag in an ABC correction and then another ABC. It's a bit messy on a lower time frame. So, of course, the easiest is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave A, wave B, wave C. As long as price is not taking out this high, arguably probabilities are higher to still take out this low, right? And this is something I've mentioned the past few days as we started ranging here is, for me, the probabilities only turn bullish if we can pass this resistance, right? Because that gives the confirmation that the diagonal would be finished and that this is then a 3-wave instead of a 5-wave structure. Now, with regards to the target, I actually think we moved up, of course, a little bit. I put this on the chart earlier today, so let me adjust this. So your target for a wave is C. If you would be looking for an ABC down, is the 1 to the 1.236, is 63.4K. Voila, to 62.7K. And guess what? It's a nice confluence with the support box to the downside. Very nice. So this is your area of interest. And then what we're going to be looking for is some proof of support in that area. Now that is of course different for everyone, as everyone is using their own tools and their own indicators and whatever they like to use. I also have my favorite tools and indicators and whatnot that I like to use that give me signs of strength or signs of weakness. But at least the area is important. I know where I start to get interested for longs. Yeah? Now, with regards to a question earlier, someone asked like, where am I interested in longs? I'm interested here and I'm interested here. Because if you take the high, the probabilities are higher to move up, and if you can pass this resistance, probabilities are higher to move to the next area. Second is the area down here, of course. Now, that's very short, but I talk about all the interesting setups from an Elliott wave point of view in the Koens setups channel. Now, it's the top link in the description that gets you to the Koens trades. Follow the steps you'll get in Koens setups. It's absolutely free, but that's where I explain why setups are interesting from an Elliott wave point of view. And then it's not necessarily I take them, but I know where I have interest, and then I wait for the reaction. I observe. I use everything that you see me use in the content, and then I make a decision. Right, so I know my areas of interest, and then it's just patience. So yeah, that's pretty much it, no? So let's see what price is gonna give us. Got this one back on the chart here. Ooh, we're at the point of control. No, we're not far away from 0.618 as well. It's pretty much on top of the point of control. Okay, well, good to know. Okay, so 1 second. Hello? Yeah, I had such a good workout yesterday, man. I can feel my left back may have stressed it a bit too much. Pull-ups, dips, push-ups, 5-kilometer run. Oh, it's good stuff. Can you talk about the probability between those scenarios? I can associate how to know which I should. Well, first of all, you shouldn't follow any scenario, of course, because you should have your own plan and your own strategy. And that is also actually my answer. So the reason I don't give exact probabilities is because if I give exact probabilities, like even more precise, people are going to trade them. I already know this happens. People are trading the Elliott wave scenarios. Okay, we hit the point of control. Probability is higher now that this is an ABC. But so I already know it happens, but I'm not a signal service, of course, and neither giving financial advice. But I know that if I'm going to be very specific, for example, if I say things like, you know, on a weekly time frame, probabilities are 90% for price to continue up, right? 90-10. What's then going to happen is viewers are going to be so confident, they are going to change maybe their own plan. They're going to hold. Maybe they were going to sell. Now imagine new information comes in and probabilities slowly start to change. So what I like to do is probabilities are higher or lower. And sometimes it's 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. But they're higher. So I don't want to give exact probabilities because I'm afraid I'm going to influence people too much. And that's not the goal. I provide insights. I provide probabilities. The probabilities that I provide is already more than 90% of other YouTubers do with regards to Elliott waves. Usually they only show scenarios, but they don't give probabilities, or they don't know how to give probabilities. So I already give probabilities, of course. But that is as far as I really like to go, really. Because if I'm going to be very specific, then people are going to just immediately use that as financial advice. So I like to at least say higher or lower, but it leaves a bit of freedom to think for yourself and trade your own plan and strategy. Yeah. Rios Adriano, where is the one? What do you mean, Rios? Coffeeholic, welcome. I'm interested to see what ETFs are going to do today. Well, I actually have no idea. I don't actually know what the story now is with the ETFs. Top 3 prediction. Hamza. Oh, top 3 prediction. The thing is that the track is very much a Red Bull track. However, what I think will happen versus what I like to see happening. I think Max is going to take the win. Lando Norris P2 and Oscar Piastri P3. Now, what I would like to see happening is someone else winning than Max. That would be more fun. So, look, McLaren has been improving. So I would like to see. I mean, it would be awesome if Oscar Piastri can also get a win. So I would like a McLaren on P1, and I would like to see Ferrari there as well. But then you have Red Bull. So I would like to see a McLaren on P1, see a Ferrari in P2 or P3, and then one Red Bull in P2 or P3. Likely that's going to be Max, as Checo has been bearish. What's up, name? Andrea Tozzi, welcome. In the scenario, sweeping the liquidity from top and low. A should be 3 waves, correct. Could you count that, please? That's already stuff that's been done in the past. So that's I don't like to go back to the charts. That's the reason why I clean everything up on my counting, because it's not relevant anymore. So you have an expanding flat. It's your bearish scenario. This wave A is either a WXY or it's a 5-wave leading diagonal, and that's your scenarios. So because you can't have a flat here. This is not a 5-wave move. Can't have a double zigzag in here as well, or at least low probabilities because of how high X is. By the way, this looks like a 3-waver by itself. So that is why we have different scenarios, which eventually leads to either a flat here or a zigzag here more locally. But I like to keep my charts very, very clean, and I generally don't really look back too often. So we've counted that structure. I gotta be honest, right? And this has been covered in many videos. I would also recommend to go to some live streams where I actually cover this in a lot of detail. I personally am not a fan of ending wave 4 here. And everyone knows from an Elliott wave point of view, it's actually a really shitty low. Because this structure down can't be counted as a simple zigzag because of your wave 4 here. Right, can't be counted as or low probabilities. It's a double zigzag because your X retraced above the 0.7. Like this being a flat A, B, C, well then C is a problem because of wave 4. So that's going to leave you with either a WXY like this, which is a flat X zigzag, which is valid, or a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for then this to be a wave A, and then you have WXY in your B, right, and then C down. So in other words, those are your scenarios. And of course, a WXY can be part of a wave A, which then means a flat for then a B and then a wave C down. But it's not a great end of a wave 4. Not gonna lie. So, but yeah, I don't have the folders on my chart anymore. The moment things are clear. So in other words, this has to be a low, because if it's not, then this low has to be a wave B or a wave X, which means this move up has to be a wave C or a wave Y, right? But that means if it's a wave C, you need a flat, meaning you need a wave A, B, and a wave C. If this is the high of your wave C, then you barely have any wave 4. It's very short in time compared to your wave 2, and wave 4 didn't touch the 0.236 minimum target generally. And if you would end wave C here, then your wave C is over twice the length of A plus B, which significantly lowers the probabilities for a wave C. So therefore, an ABC probability is not that great, right? And if this is a wave X, we need a wave Y to the upside. So then you need like WXY, which is you then have like what you need to have zigzag, zigzag. Oh no, you would need a flat. This is then a sideways double combo because X went below W, so you need a flat X zigzag to then finish wave Y here. Then you have a W, X, and then a Y, finishing wave Y here, and then a bigger W, X, and then a Y, but it eventually leads to the same price action. And then wave Y is of course a zigzag, so you would need some sort of a flat in here. This is not a great impulsive structure, I remember. But yeah, we of course adapt and change as we go forward and move forward. But it's not pretty. It's not pretty, can't deny. So I guess I just answered your question. I said like, I don't want to go in too much detail, but I actually went in a little bit of detail there. Because I also like to talk about it, but I never had a great feeling with the low there just yet. Like it didn't yet feel like an awesome end of wave 4. Gotta say. Well, so it's a good question, but you're not late. You're here. Why is everyone so bearish? New York SE opens. Depends, of course, what bearish is and what time frame we talk about. But I'm not bearish on the weekly. The last move of Bitcoin up is 3 ways. Well, in ETH, it's impulsive. So I think because not a low, but also not a quarter. Yeah, I don't really look much at the Bitcoin dominance, but yeah, possibly. I heard that the alts were bleeding a lot because, the recent move to the downside. But even with the alts, on the higher time frames, also with the altcoin streams that we do every Sunday, probabilities on the higher time frames are also higher to still continue the trend on pretty much all of the alts. Asanov, how you doing? I've been busy this month. Couldn't really do much. Am I welcome again? If I said, of course, of course, Asanov, man, absolutely. And it's only good, you've been busy, no problemo. Real life and other stuff goes first, right? And also, if you took everything you wanted from the membership and you gained all the info or knowledge or skills that you wanted to get out of it, of course, it makes sense to then leave and continue by yourself, right? I mean, if you go to school and you finish school because you got out all the information, you're not going to go on with life, but continue paying school, right? So that's absolutely normal. If you want to do other stuff and you've got everything you wanted to do, just go. But you're always happy to come back. Always happy to come back. So what are your predictions? If you watch Formula One, please write the top 3. Right, we like at the end of the race on Sunday. Write your top 3 in the chat. Max will win a bit more easily here. Yeah, I don't know. People talk about Hamilton, but I think that Canada with Mercedes was more of a lucky shot. Like the circumstances in the rain, that package worked well. But I don't yet see Mercedes fighting McLaren and Red Bull. Right, like. I would like them to be up there, to have a 4-team battle together with Ferrari, but I don't really think that Mercedes is there just yet. Max, Lewis, Lando, that would be a great podium. I would love to see 3 different constructors. Yeah, he is. Hopefully he doesn't get into the bear market like last year. Like Checo went in a bear market after Miami. Sure, he never got out of there. Regarding the diagonal, isn't it a problem that the current move up exceeded the trend line? No. Because look, even though 1 second, let me show. Wait, let me just remove this. Go to a 1-hour chart. So of course, what you might think is, oh shit, we crossed the trend line, but it's not a diagonal invalidation. A trend line of a diagonal is never an invalidation, right, for a diagonal. So what you want to do is pull a channel. Wait, first let me put this on the chart so you actually know what I'm doing. So 3, 4, and then you look for 5. So what you're going to do is take a channel from the low of 1 to the low of 3 to the high of 2. Now the upper trend line. Hello? So first of all, the upper trend line is an invalidation. Second, the high of wave 4 is an invalidation. So, yeah. And you want wave 3 to be shorter than wave 1. You want wave 4 to be shorter than wave 2, but that's also represented by the trend line, right? And you want wave 5 to be shorter than wave 3 in price. So that is why your third invalidation, that one, I think, is the 1-to-1. These are your invalidations. Here and here. Yo, Zach. I always, when I see Zach here, I always have to think, so I used to be a professional in Trackmania, right? And at a given moment, we had a bit of a joke with the word like Zach, like Zach. And Pack was, anyway, Pack is an in-game name of one of the champions in Trackmania. And in one of the Cup of the Days, if you play Trackmania, he was tasked to win it and then say Zach at the end, which he did. So I always have to think about that moment when I see your name. Good to have you here, though. You do not look at ETF flows. That is correct. I do nothing with fundamentals, which includes ETFs. Yeah. What would be helpful and what I think that a lot of new Elliott wave traders struggle with are the lower degree wave counts model. Any tips? Yes, but it's not necessarily. I see. So the tip first is if you cannot yet count a 15, 30, 1 hour time. So I think the 4 hours should work. Right? 4 hours is starting to become high time frame. But what I recommend is, first of all, stay on the higher time frames. On the lower time frames, price action becomes, depends on your skill level. But if you're not there just yet, it's a more difficult, time frame. If you go to the lower time frames, a 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, it starts to become more clean. But first, learn all the theory, because if it's very difficult to count 15-minute, then or the 1 hour, there's still some more practice to do. Now, sometimes the 15 or the 1 hour is not clear. So in my case, right? And this is only stuff you learn with experience. For example, I did not count this range, but the probabilities were higher to move up. I did not count this range, but the probabilities were higher to move down. Do you remember? We were waiting for price to move down inside the 382-886 area, right? We eventually got there, but we continued. Perfect, right? So you don't have to count all the lower time frame waves just to have a good idea of the probabilities. And I think the danger in the beginning is trying to make sense of every separate structure, which eventually leads to a form of paralysis, because you're like, fuck, I lost track. I have no idea what's happening. So I would recommend to first stick around on the higher time frames, keep counting the higher time frames, keep practicing the higher time frames, and then go to the lower time frames and try to at least first look for structures that you recognize, right? Just for practice purposes, start counting impulses first, right? And then look for potential zigzags, and then look for XYZ, potentially flats and stuff. So you got to train yourself, right? Because in the end, what's happening on the lower time frame is actually no different than on the higher time frame. The thing is that it changes a lot more quickly. So you got to be able to switch very quickly based on new information, which can mean a couple of candles and your whole scenario can go out the window sometimes, or it's already played out and you're going to think of new stuff. But if you don't yet have all the theory immediately there and you know it by heart, it's very difficult to keep track of what's happening locally, because by the time you're putting all the fibs on the chart for the scenario you thought had the highest probability, it might already be invalidated and you're like, oh fuck, I got to now think of something else. So it's a lot of like theory, practice, summarizing, writing notes down, and then eventually it becomes easier because you'll be able to switch a lot quicker between scenarios. So also here on the lower time frame, for example, I have not counted any of this in detail. This here, it's just not. It's not worth my time. It's not interesting. Because if this is your low, right, of a diagonal, and we look for a move up, okay, I'm looking for an impulse. I want to see an impulsive structure, which means I want to see this box broken. So I'm only interested to really look for longs if we either break this box or we fall down to lower prices. But I want to count an impulsive structure, right? That's what I'm going to be looking for. If this is corrective, well, first we could have A, B, C, W, X, and then a wave Y. Oops, wave Y. Do I want to know what X is? No, I have no interest to count this structure to the downside. But what I mentioned yesterday to silver, I'm not actually sure if I mentioned it in a public video, but this structure to the downside looked very corrective. Because what you can do is do what I sometimes do, is write down impulse, diagonal, double 1, 2. If you want to see continuation from this height to the downside, you want to count an impulsive structure, either an impulse, diagonal, or a double 1, 2, right? So with this move, you're either going to be looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no overlap between 1 and 4. Well, there's a lot of overlap. So you don't need a lot of Elliott wave knowledge to still get to this conclusion. That's pretty much what I'm teaching here, right? I don't have to count this in a lot of detail to know the probabilities are higher. This is a corrective structure, not impulsive, increasing the probabilities to look for price moving up. But I also want to see some local strength, which we got with the CVD. But anyway, an impulse down here doesn't look good, right? A lot of overlap, not allowed in an impulse, so we can scrap that one. If we look for a diagonal, then a diagonal, leading diagonal, can be a 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, or all of the waves can be zigzags. Now, if we look for a diagonal in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your wave 3 is longer than your wave 1, which means you already have to think about an expanding diagonal, and an expanding diagonal is very rare, never preferred, unless all of the other stuff fails. So that means we have to look for a diagonal with zigzags, ABC, correction, right? ABC, and then eventually correction, and another ABC. The problem is that this leg down was again longer than the first leg down. In other words, your wave 3 is longer than your wave 1, which means again expanding diagonal, which again means low probabilities. So, voilà. Which means the double 1, 2 is left. And if this is a double 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or, let's start with that, 1, 2, 1, 2, and a big 3, we don't want to see all this sideways stuff, right? The longer we range here, the lower the probabilities. After a double 1, 2, we want to see a strong move down, and preferably a double 1, 2 is supported by consistent bearish CVDs, right? Which we did see, but we didn't see impulsivity. Arguably, an option was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I didn't really like, if this is your 2, where's your wave 4? Very short wave 4. So the double 1, 2, once we started going sideways here and it took so long, we ain't going anywhere. This one is also. So if you want to remember one thing on the lower time frames, because the best trades are wave 2s, wave Bs, like impulse, correction, impulse, 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C. You want to go for that C or want to go for that wave 3, which means you want to start a move with one of these 3. So because this move down did not have high probabilities to be an impulse, diagonal, nor a double 1, 2, the probabilities are higher to take out the high. Now, as mentioned in the video last night, what I was looking for was some local proof of strength as well, which we eventually got once we started moving here, as shown in the previous update, the video this morning. So that's like a little, that's like a trick. So locally on the 15-minute, you might not know all the corrective structures, you might not know all the different pools, but if you want to really change like market structure, or you want to trade bigger moves, you have to see one of these 3. If you can't see one of these 3, probabilities are higher, you're still going to take that high or that low. So it's corrective. You don't have to know what corrective structure it is, right? I have never counted this in detail because it just doesn't help me. I have identified that this is a higher probability of being a corrective structure, which means probabilities are higher to take the high. I don't have to know what this is, WXY, WXYZ, ABC, something. The only thing I have to know is this corrective or is this impulsive? And maybe that helps you on the lower time frames if you approach this like this. At least that's a trick that I like to use. Not sure how one could possibly catch these moves without being glued to the screen. Any thoughts? It depends a little bit on your trading plan, right? So if you are a day trader, then in the beginning of the day, it would be good to have areas of interest, set your alarms, and if price is hitting your area of interest, look if you see what you want to see. Because if you have a plan or a strategy, you know what you're looking for. So if you know what you're looking for, you can set alarms at places, areas of interest, and then the moment price hits your area of interest, you just check the boxes and see if it actually matches your plan. And if it doesn't, you don't take the trade, and if it does, you take the trade. So there we go. Oh, we're now below the point of control. So my way of trading is very free. So and this is personal preference, but I also don't like to be glued to the screen all day. I like the freedom to do whatever I want to do. I just set my alarms. I have a plan that I make in the morning for the day. If price makes it to those levels, my alarms go off. I get interested. I observe. I might have to come back after half an hour or an hour to give price a little bit of time. But eventually, I either decide to take it or I don't. But in between, like when my alarm isn't going off, I know that there's no interest for me. There we go. Yes, Kate. Yeah, you can go to the channel and go down to my very professional thumbnail videos down like here. How to trade naked point of controls using volume profile. I also shortly talk about ATAS and EXO at the end, but at least it explains point of controls and the volume profile as well. Let's actually see what the CVD has done here. Bit of a drop, but no bullish CVDs on the 15 yet. Highest amount of volume, of course, is in the latest move to the downside. So if we're looking for an impulse, you can do the same thing. Highest volume is in the low, in the latest move down. So you don't want to hit the 618. Cheers, Asanov. I'll make sure to check it afterwards. Welcome to the team again, man. Patience and a plan beforehand. Yup, it's the plan. BMW. Now that's a good answer. Max Lando Sainz. Sainz, that would be cool, eh? Home Grand Prix. We gave back the whole move. Correct. Some people are saying online that this bull market will be much shorter than most people expect, with less than 12 months ago before the start of the bear market. Potential. So with regard, so on the monthly time frame in my macro video, you'll see this, which is here. On the monthly, currently the target price-wise would be 104 to 180k, with time being between March and October 2025. And if you want to make it a little bit wider than September 2024, but 2025 March October would have the higher probability to end the bull market. But we'll see where we are, like step by step. You know, probabilities on the weekly as well as the daily are still higher to move up, and every time we get a new range or a retracement, we just have to count the range. Yeah. But the problem is, the people that are saying this while price is at 65k. I mean, what are we talking about? We don't even know what we're dealing with. So price can still go a lot higher, and maybe it tops out at 90k, but we don't know. We have to take it step by step. It doesn't make any sense really to talk about 400k, 500k. It also doesn't make sense to talk about 15k. What makes most sense, in my opinion, for the macro, or at least the weekly here, is to just take it step by step. So what I do myself is I just observe every range, because after each push, eventually you're going to get a top, so you're going to get a range, right? Also here we push up, right? We make a top. Yes, you drop, but in these drops you have daily ranges. And that is where the probabilities are like, oh, you know, oh shit. You might not sell the top or sell the exact bottom, but you can get very close, because on the lower time frames you can get the ranges. So I always just wait for a range. After every push you get a range. Push, range. This was a nice ending diagonal as well. This push up was corrective, increasing probabilities to still take the low. And now locally here, so far, right? Push up, corrective, push up, corrective, push up, corrective, push up, corrective. And what you're going to be looking for is at least an impulsive structure, a 5-wave move. At the moment, the probabilities in this, so this is what I'm looking for. In this range, probabilities are higher. This is a corrective range, and we still take all-time high. Now, if we do, I'm just going to be waiting for the next range, which means I'm going to be waiting for the next 20% drop, 30% drop, how many percent drop, right? But by all means, after that drop, you then expect a little bit of a bounce, so it creates a range once again, and that is something that I can deal with, right? Then I start to get some structure which I can count, and then based on the new range, I can reassess the probabilities for either continuation or deeper retracements. And if the probabilities are going to be higher again for continuation, we just look up, up, up. So like my style is very much like staircase, right? Da, 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 da. And I just observe every range. And if the range has a higher probability of being corrective, long, 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 right? The moment you start to get a bigger retracement, and we have the potential for an impulsive structure down and a corrective structure up, we still expect this low to be taken. So that is a moment to be like, might want to sell, because I might want to look for a move down. Now this can still be A, B, C and continue, but I have no problem coming back later, playing it safe. So yeah, I'm not really too involved with like talking about very high prices I like to take it step by step. It's a lot better for my for my trading psychology as well. I'm just gonna put Sargent in the ring, maybe a mandate. You know, he's gonna be out of a contract. Pixel, how you doing? Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Sorry for the question. I didn't mean to go into it. Yeah, no problem, Youssef. But of course, his historic price section, I of course I removed the detail counts. So when I go back, I don't have the counts anymore. So I quickly have to like reanalyze it. But no, we did it. Zak. Tim, hoe gaat het, kerel? Paralysis by overanalysis. Yup. But Rios, which impulse do you mean? So what time frame are you talking about? This big impulse, is that this here, or is that on a daily or a weekly? Are we below 63k? But see that, so the 63k is not relevant compared to all-time high. It's 56 versus all-time high, right? So 63 is great, is a great area, right? And probabilities are higher. This is now a three-wave structure because we touched the 618 as explained in the analysis. So yeah, could be looking for a new low, 63k. But the thing is that 63k is not relevant compared to the all-time high. 56 compared to all-time high is. So that's your arguably invalidation, while 63k is not an invalidation. For the double 1-2, do you look for alternation in your fours? If you have a 1-2-1-2, then you get your 3, and then a 4-5-4-5. I do not look for alternation between the two 4s. I look for alternation then compared with the 2s. So I do look for alternation then, but then it's with the wave 2s. Yeah, as that is the rule of alternation, is comparing 4 with 2. Patrick, welcome. Catching up in replay. Welcome, Poemit. Did you finish the Elliott wave? Oh, wait. Where's my analysis? Oops, I forgot to pin it. Yes. Do you have a course to sell or all free? Well, I mean, if you want to be a member, of course, feel free to. But this is a complete. Everything you need to know about Elliott waves is in this playlist. Right? If you follow it. It's all here. Besides, I also often recommend this website, which is also absolutely free. And do I have a course where I provide more feedback, more content, more stuff? Yes, that is gold, the gold membership. So bronze is just support, silver is short term during the day, during the content updates. Gold is all about shortening the learning curve. So I give more education there, more feedback. We count more charts, private live streams. And diamond is all about building a plan, building a strategy, having insights in my way of trading, routine, that sort of stuff. And there's, for free, I also have a setups channel, which is where I share which trading setups are interesting from an Elliott wave point of view, and I explain why that is. So I put the position thing on the chart, and I say, okay, this is an interesting place because, and then from an Elliott wave point of view, I explain because And then when price approaches that area, I don't say if I enter or not, because that depends on someone's own tools. I'm not here to give signals because I'm not that type of guy. I'm not that type of channel. But I do explain why a setup is interesting. And if I see what I want to see, I'll trade it. And the setups channel is absolutely free as well, which is the first link in the description, which brings you to the Koens Trades channel, and then just follow some of those steps, and you're in the Koens Setups channel. So I provide, I guess, in my opinion, quite a lot of free stuff. Yeah. Can this big drop be a 1? This wave here to the downside has a higher probability of being a wave C. So then you're going to be looking, right? If you're looking for a 1, which is for an impulse, so you're going to be looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then overall, if you zoom out a little bit more, you're going to be looking for a wave A, B, C at the moment. And then inside your wave C, yes, you can look for a 5-wave structure where either this move by itself is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or your wave 1 is already finished, you're working on a wave 3 now. But by all means, if you are looking for a wave 1, you're going to be looking for downside anyway. But a wave C would be the higher degree count, right? Yes. And then in C, you can have a 1. Yo, Rudy. Congrats on the short while finishing the job as well. Good to have you here. Soon home again, eh? Yaka bro, welcome. Oh, the day, yeah, so far so good. It's been a busy day. Actually, a busy 2 days. Yesterday was very busy as well. What's the time? Almost 4 p.m. And then, of course, a video later today. Still an update as well, and still have some stuff to do. So I had as an ending time for my stream, I had like 4 p.m. So yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Let's always doing something. How are you, Jacob bro? Reloads. It's a pleasure. Glad you find it valuable. Yes, maybe Bandit. What structure do you expect for the next low? So when I look for one more low, then at the moment I'm looking to end a diagonal. So just to answer that question, right? So what is the structure pretty much if I'm looking for one more low? Then I preferably like to see price hit this 63K support area. Observe the reaction here. From an Elliott wave point of view, as long as we move down on volume, right, it doesn't make in my opinion, any sense to trade long. So you want to wait for a range to form. So if price is just going to do that, I wait for a range to form. I wait for price to show me some proof of support, market structure, new waves, whatever. Or we form a local range, but at the moment probabilities are higher. This is a 3-wave move. So if we do make a new low, like you say, like what was the question? What structure do you expect? Well, in that case, an impulse, preferably, of a diagonal. And if we do come down here, I want to observe what happens here to make a decision. If we get there. Leva, welcome. Mark, good to have you here. You broke the like button. Hey, could this move down? Wait, could this current move still be part of a 1-2? If not, what will be the invalidation? Current move. The current move be a part of a 1-2-1-2. Mui, are you talking a 1-2-1-2 from the high at 72, or are you talking more local here? Who's the modern here? It's a pleasure, Yannis. Always a pleasure. 15-minute gap. Is there a 15-minute? I don't really see a 15-minute gap here. Or you're talking about filling the gap that you had here, maybe, but this gap here has already been tested once. So I'm not really looking for the 15-minute gaps here. Of course, we had a bit of an order block here, right? Acting as resistance. Good to see. But yeah. A 1-2-1-2 local long. Ah, I see. Steve has. Thanks for the clarification. So in that case, so from the low, right? So of course I explained the probabilities earlier here locally. Let me remove this now. So if we're looking for an impulse up, you have either an impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as explained, right? First of all, you don't want to overlap with wave 1. Second, we also touched the 0.618, which means you have to look for diagonals, but the diagonal is too early to call because you want to wait for a wave 4 to be in. And in a double 1, 2, your second wave 1 preferably does not end on the highest amount of volume. This is what I explained during the analysis. So you have a move up, and then you have this final structure on a high amount of volume, the highest in a local move up. So from an impulse perspective, preferably this is a wave 3, right? Because it's by far most common for a wave 3 to have the highest amount of volume. But then we want to see a 4 and a 5. And as identified, the moment you drop and hit 60, what was it, 65.4K? Yes. A wave 4 is invalidated, which lowers the probabilities this is a second wave 1. Now, secondly, of course, you can just pull the fibs and look at the target area for another wave 2. So, of course, if you hit the 886, that's a problem. Right. So, yeah. Of course, a second wave 1, wave 1 can end on high volume, but preferably it doesn't, because the highest volume is preferably in a wave 3. So it just lowers the probabilities that the volume is in the high for a second wave 1. Yes, volume is important. Yeah, reloads. Welcome to bronze. Yeah, welcome to the team. Thanks for the support, man. Welcome to the first step of the podium. Cheers, reloads. Kadir Malikov. It's 7 p.m. Good evening and welcome. Haven't been able to check for a long time, but here you are once again. Thanks for hanging around, guys. Welcome back, Kadir Malikov. How are you doing? Are we still expecting the lowest? I don't Sutan, can you repeat? Are we still expecting the lowest on or after the 21st of June? 21st. So this low was on the 18th. This low on the 19th. 21st of June is tomorrow. Are we still expecting? Oh, so I guess the question is, can we expect a lower low on Friday, depending on what happens today? I guess that's kind of like the question, but what happens tomorrow, we'll wait and see, right? It depends on today. So let's first see how we end today. Of course, we can make a new low tomorrow, but it depends on the price action today. So, but to the downside, 63K is very interesting. Yeah, I think the 1212 long I explained now. I like to. Hey Tim, ben jij zondag bij Stijn of niet? Ik ben van plan om daar Formule 1 te kijken. Stijn weet het zelf nog niet, maar ik moet hem nog even vragen of hij kan. Want dan kan ik hem misschien ook helpen in de tuin. Maar ik vraag hem wel even. Okay, I'm gonna ask a friend a question. 1 second. One second. Okay, there we go. Not early was one of my early mistakes. Smell like a crash coming. Go down, down, down. All probabilities. We do like probabilities playing out. To the timing. Oh, wait. Okay, you mean on a daily time frame. Yeah. So if price makes the low on the 21st, right, it would at least hit the 3. So if you watch the analysis earlier on the daily time frame for a wave 2, the 382 fib time on the 21st of June is important. If we would make the low on the 21st, the probability still on the local, based on the local structure down, would for now be higher to still look for a zigzag ABC. So still look for a B up and a C down, unless the structure up is going to be impulsive. But it is a possibility, yes. You can end it and then move up impulsively. It's just probabilities wise, not yet the greatest probabilities, but it depends on the move up. If the move up is corrective, we look for another low. If it's impulsive, we look for highs. But we don't yet have that information. Cheers. Yeah, cool, Tim. Still learning. Thanks for the new education. Pleasure, Kadir Maliko. Hope they're useful, valuable, helps you in your Elliott wave education, like you say. Helping in the garden. I can come watch. I'm just being lazy. Stein didn't reply yet, so let's just wait till he actually replies. Dutch course when? Probably, of course, there's quite a lot of... oh, you mean a Dutch language course? I don't know. You'll be able to find them online. Yeah, nee. You can start with the words that we took from the English language. Like the Dutch language is like a mix between German, French, English. You know. Bring your shovel, Tim. Maybe a Band-Aid had a good trading day so far, he said. What a drop. That's nice to see, no? You know, red is a very nice color. I know broer. Yes, brother. Sutan, pleasure, Sutan. Pleasure. What are you going to do this weekend? So on Saturday, I'm going to meet up with Jeroen. He lives on the other side of the country, like literally other side. He lives in Leeuwarden. So I have to travel by train 3 hours to get there and then 3 hours back. The reason I like the train, and actually the train is as fast as a car, is because I can work in the train. So I'm traveling 6 hours to meet Jeroen. And then on Sunday, and of course make the videos and stuff. And then on Sunday, watch stuff with friends. You got some easy Dutch words for chat now. Ja, nee, toilet, tuin, boom, fiets. Could we move down to 60 and ABC instead of an impulse? Preferably this move down is going to be a direct one. As you then look for a 5, a 3, and then a 5. Instead of an ABC. Yeah, Leeuwarden, I know, right? Like, holy mother, why is he living all the way there? It is inside city travel. Pleasure. Dank u wel. Yeah. I'll bring my shovel so I can watch Koen work. I have no idea what that... So... Zondag... Tim is pussying out, man. So Tim in WhatsApp is saying, yo, I'll make time for Formula 1 on Sunday, but I have enough to do at home. August Garden. Yeah. Sitting on the couch with a beer, watching some Netflix, yo. Oh, Stein asks, how late is Formula One? So look, so Tim in chat here, he's a real life friend of the friend group. I don't know, Tim, how long do we know each other now? We know each other for, what, 17 years now? 16, 17 years? I have to download F1 TV. There's an update again. So I have to update F1 TV. So I can't check yet. Oh, I get a call, but I can't because I am live. Bullish CVD on a 1 hour time frame. I do not recommend. So with regards to bullish CVDs, right? If you have a move like this, I mean, look, this is from my experience recommended, right? The bullish CVD is not. It's not relevant because you had one bullish CVD with the low already, which played out because you took the high. So this move down is now a second CVD with the same pivot, which does lower probabilities. But more importantly, you're now moving down on volume. So what I would like to see to support the narrative of going back up is wait for a local range and look for CVD divergences as price is then moving to the upside. So local, preferably on a 3, 5 minute, 15-minute time frame, and see local strength. At the moment here, of course, there's no local strength. I prefer to see local support coming in. So we can't disregard the bullish CVD. It's a second CVD with the same pivot, which is still okay. This pivot here is less relevant because we touched the 886 now as well, taken from the low to the high. But I would like to see local strength. So yeah, of course you have on blue here, right? Higher low in price, lower low on blue. But what I want to see is local strength. And for that to, like, before we have it, we first need a bounce, we need a grind, we need a range, and then take it from there. 6 more likes to reach 100. Yo, look at you go. Thanks everyone. Tim, race on Sunday, 3 p.m. All right. Can we touch 66K? I mean, we just came from 66K, no? So yeah, we were at 66K earlier. The only way to reach 66K now would be to label this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correction, maybe hit 66, which is arguably quite high already, and then move down. But look, you first need local strength. There's at the moment no strength whatsoever. We move down. We already mentioned the probabilities in the analysis earlier as well of the local range, and it starts to look very attractive to take. Or starts, it was already, because the probabilities were already higher to still take this low at some point. I don't know, maybe it's gonna, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but would be nice if that happens soon. Like it will let 500 to 1000 max fall. Will that help? You mean a 500 to 1K fall? Well, we went from 66.4 to 64K, so solid move down, price-wise. Of course, it's still a relatively small move, but so yeah. Look, also, this impulse was, you know, if you look for, right? Remember the analysis, the diagonal, and the potential still there for your A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So having bounces with ranges is absolutely normal in an impulse. So can you go to 66K? I mean, in that case, you want to count this as a wave 1, 2, and then look for 3, 4, 5, have a bounce, and then continue again. All right? And then you go. And then before the weekend, get the low. The weekend range starting. Let's see. So raise 3 p.m. No. Bearish engulfing. Probably if I go up to a 1 hour or 4 hour, probably, yeah. MACD is making lower low and lower high at 3 minutes. Bettina, wave C. Yeah, definitely higher probabilities, right, of the 3-wave move, and interesting to look for that wave C in 5. Would be nice to also end it then before the weekend, preferably. Where can we see the correction? The number 2. I don't know what you mean. Please, of course, please, if you write in chat, explain what you mean. Where can we see the correction? Leah, no idea what this is. Number 2, I don't know what this is as well. If you want to put numbers on the chart, of course, you use this tool, right? So Elliott impulse wave, but I don't know what you mean, unfortunately. Market maker is doing some fun. Side note that with diagonals, ending on high volume is actually quite common for a diagonal to end on a spike. So, the push in a wave 5. Break the 1-3 trend line so that you have a trend line, you break the trend line, you move below high volume and then return. Aren't there already 5 waves down? I don't count this, so you can also just have 1, 2, 1, 2, and the 3 is still coming, right? So that would be 3-minute counting. As long as price is moving down on volume, right, on increasing volume, we're looking for lower. Because as price moves down on volume, what you want to wait for is a range. From an Elliott wave point of view, you want to wait for a range, as the range will give you all of the information that you need to then reanalyze the chart. How and when do you place positions yourself? How depends on my plan and strategy, which of course is something that I use everything you see in all of my content. And when I see signs of strength or signs of weakness. Yeah. Which of course I have personal things that I keep an eye on, which is I show everything in my content, but it's the relationship between the different things I use, which eventually lead to me taking a position. Also in Diamond, I do explain more in detail, and in the Koen Setups channel, which is the first link in the description, I, for free, publicly, it's completely accessible, I write why a setup is interesting. So from an Elliott wave point of view, I explain why is this potential trade on the chart in advance. So every morning, or almost every morning, I write an update in the setups channel, and I explain these setups are currently interesting to me from an Elliott wave point of view because, and then I explain the why for each setup, which hopefully helps people to understand how to trade Elliott waves and why is that setup interesting, so that eventually once they go on the journey themselves, they'll be able to trade Elliott waves. I don't say if I enter a trade or not, because I'm not a signals channel and I'll never be a signals channel. Signals is probably moon boy stuff, and that sort of people. But I do write why setups are interesting from an Elliott wave point of view, and then if I see what I want to see, I'll take that exact setup. So yeah, Koen Setup channel. I scrolled up just a little bit. I don't want to show the most recent, but so these were 2 setups. One setup at the low, the setup at the daily naked point of control was prepared, right? And I explained in the setups channel why this one was interesting, right? So yeah, and then there's more. I don't want to go through everything, but you get the point. So what I did here is I then wrote down, it's quite a story. I don't want to go, like, it's quite an explanation of why this trade for me was an area of interest. It went all the way down to 64 before a bounce. Solid. No, it's good. So yeah. So it's all free. It's all there. I just hopefully show people how to trade Elliott waves by explaining why setups are interesting. And I just publicly post them. Taking them or not depends on your own plan, your own strat, right? Including my own stuff. Ali Mossara, I don't share take profits or stop losses because I don't share my trades, but I share the setups from an Elliott wave point of view. As just explained, I just explained everything. So with regards to what you ask, the first link in the description, I'm a lot more active on Discord, gotta be said. And I gotta update the koenztrades channels because I've taken many trades since the latest picture in there. But yeah. So check out the first link in the description, follow the steps, and then send me an email and I'll put you in the koenztrades channel. It's all free. Hey Koen, curious, how did you come across Elliott Wave and deciding to master it? I got in touch with Elliott Waves because of a friend of mine that I met from a Discord group. And in February 2021, he showed me a picture of an Elliott Wave count and how price eventually, the result of what price eventually did. And I got inspired. And I like that Elliott Waves gives me a chance to read the chart. So it doesn't feel random. So I can count the waves. It's like I'm reading a book instead of just looking at some candles and having absolutely no clue. So it for me, it was like reading a book, which very much helps me in my trading. And I like the psychology aspect of Elliott Waves. Mark. On the lower time frames more than the higher ones for sure, but now we are at least observing one on the 1 hour. So locally here, for example, I'm not really looking for any diagonals, but yeah, generally they're not very common, more so on higher time frames. Lower time frames, of course, you have a lot more of these structures. Is 5 minutes too small for wave counting? You can, but the lower you go, the more messy it becomes, and I don't wanna. It doesn't. So you got to think, right? You put in the work to count the charts, but you want to pay yourself eventually. For me, a 5 minute or 3 minute chart, counting a 3 or 5 minute chart is a lot of effort, but it doesn't help me in my trading. And also on a 3 minute chart, things change very quickly. It's just a more messy chart in general, more spiky, less accurate. So I'm not someone that goes down there. For me, 15 minutes is the lowest I go. Name. I mean, I do have that question sometimes because people ask, "Do you copy trade?" But I don't, because I don't want to press buttons for other people. Rob, how are you doing? Welcome. Traveling today, just joining, catching up. Interesting price action. Absolutely, Rob. Welcome here. Welcome back. Let's see. We just took the low. So that's nice. Now there is a potential at least. Let's see. 1 2 3 4 5, or 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. Got the low one more, get a bit of a retracement, continue down, and then on Friday make a new low. Weekend range next week, moving up. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind making a low before the weekend, man. Else you're gonna go down or sideways for 2 days. It's too long. We've already been sideways for a long time now. Got to go. See you. See you on Sunday, Tim. Is it confirmed? I don't know. I mean, Stein this guy. He always needs to talk to his wife. Yeah, probably see you on Sunday. Have you done the test to be a certified Elliott Wave trader? Oh, you mean the CEWA, CEWA. I've actually never done that test. I don't really see the value. It's not going to help me with my trading. And if people think I'm bad, then they don't subscribe. And if they think I'm good, they subscribe. It doesn't really so far prove anything. I think the proof is in the content. And for the people that have been following me for a long time, they will know. So it's not something that I would need. I would only pass it for fun, but it doesn't help me at all. It doesn't make me more certified than I already am. And of course, if the channel was rubbish, we wouldn't get to 12K in 1 year and a little bit. So for me, what's most important is the feedback from the community. So for me, that provides the certification. That is like what's most important to me. So far so good. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I have to do it. Yeah, I can do a test, but it feels like a waste of money because what is it gonna do? You know. And then when I'm CEWA level 3. Then what? I can put on YouTube, I'm a level 3, right? Certified Elliott Wave analyst. But my counting won't change, you know, my analysis. I know all the rules, I know all the guidelines. So, yeah. Maybe one day, but at the moment, it's not something that I am considering. 4 hour gap. Always interesting. Keep an eye on the gaps. What's up, PK? Rai M. Retier. Holy moly, I'll just call you PK. Yo, Marco, cheers. Thanks for being here. Pleasure, Boom Trading. Is 63.2K that much liquidity? I don't trade liquidity, but I have a support area here, and the blue boxes are very nicely respected as support and resistance areas. So I do like to keep my eye on this level, and then below, right below 62K, I have another one. What's up, Rostam? What's the target range for this downfall? About 63K. Good job, name. That's what we like to see. Pleasure, GTP Sleeper. Thanks for the kind words, mate. I doubt a lot of people would even know there are levels. Yeah, I guess depends on your form of analysis. Of course, every trader will have different levels as their analysis varies and their combination of tools is different. But yeah, I'm just very... I like very clean charts. I only use a few tools. But in the beginning, if you saw my charts in the past, they were incredibly messy. I had a lot of stuff on my chart. But that's causing like analysis paralysis. I had no idea anymore what to do. What do I trade? What do I not trade? And so eventually less is more. Zarafa, yo, pleasure, thanks. There is something pro traders who actually stream their insights seemingly are not comfortable sharing, but would be most valuable. There is something pro traders as yourself who actually stream their insights seemingly are not, but would be the most valuable. What do you mean, Zara? So there is something pro traders as yourself who actually stream their insights. So yes, I do. So I stream every day and provide as much insights as I can during the streams as well and answer the questions. Seemingly are not, but would be most valuable. I don't know the second part. Would need a little bit of clarification there. But yeah, thanks, Zarafa. I'm glad it's valuable and you enjoy it as well. Roy, cheers. Liquidity at 63K. Yeah, same answer. I don't trade liquidity. I have my support and resistance boxes, but I don't have heat maps or liquidity maps. So that's the question. So for this, you would need to go to probably to the community and ask in the community if someone uses those heat maps, like liquidity maps, like what Patrick says. But I don't use these type of charts, so I wouldn't really be able to tell you. Cheers, Joshua. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's been a crazy journey, not gonna lie. I didn't expect the channel to blow off as it did, as quickly as it, as it actually went. A big portion of my day is now spent to YouTube stuff. So a little bit of a bounce, wig the low. So solid impulsive move to the downside at least. Okay, so probabilities at the moment. This looks like an impulse to the downside, no? Probabilities are low that this is a flat ABC because wave B touched the 1.618 fib, which is a rare target for B, which increases the probabilities the impulsive move we see to the downside is either a wave A or a wave 1. Meaning that, in other words, if we do get a bounce, probabilities are higher to still move to lower prices at a later stage. So still looking for that low to be taken. In Discord there's people that use liquidity maps. Yeah, correct. Does this confirm your analysis? So far it's working out nicely. Yes. Yeah. I see conflict with price tends to go after liquidity. Correct. I agree with the liquidity being important for price. It goes after liquidity. I mainly use Elliott waves, the important highs and lows identified by the wave structures. Barbie, look for sideways. Yeah, hopefully before the weekend though, like make a low. Dream, welcome. Jason, most of liquidity to the downside is gone, so nothing to cause anymore. 72 has, and if it would cause a short squeeze. You are probably talking about resting liquidity, right? What I think is interesting. So with that meaning, the limit orders down there. What I think is interesting is creating fear before a reversal. So preferably a high volume spike to then reverse it the other way, where people are going to be selling the low, creating fresh liquidity coming in, which wasn't visible on the heat map before. That would be interesting. Can you count a 5-wave move to the downside? Yes. If you do find the time, please go over some previous trades you took on the time frame you enter. Candle by candle, you see. I will never, because this is so if you are in diamond, then yes, but this is something I can't do in a public live stream. So unless people are diamond, because in diamond I talk about trades, I talk about why I enter or what setups are interesting, but of course I can't do this. I can't just do this because that's diamond stuff. I do understand the question and I know why it's interesting. Like, what do I do? How does it work? And people are going to try to copy me because that's the question. The question is basically, how do you trade? So I can learn from it, of course, so I can try and do the same. And it's understandable. And I do not mind at all people trading like I do. Because probably, the thing is, I use a set of tools that are comfortable to me, and I have a lot of experience with them. Someone else using the exact same tools will probably trade different. Still has different entries, different analysis, different way of entering, exiting, stop loss placement, trade management, take profit. However, this is a diamond question. So in the diamond membership, that is where I talk more talk more about setups, entries, and also answer more questions about why did I enter certain trades, what's the thought process, why there. Yeah. It's very much a diamond question. What do you think for SPX? Barbie, I haven't checked SPX and NQX, so I wouldn't know. For me, I don't see CVD telling at the moment. How do you view? Same. With this move to the downside, right, in order to see any signs of strength, you first need a range or at least a bit of a bounce, and then see some bullish CVDs coming in. At the moment, price is just moving down. Yeah, so I agree, Rob. I agree. Yeah. Okay, everyone. After 2 hours and 10 minutes, it's time for me to go. I had in my agenda to actually stop at 4, but I always like to hang around. So make sure to check out the analysis starting at 32 minutes if you haven't. Everything is in there. And by the way, Zarafa, what I recommend as a step one, Zarafa, before you spend $100 on diamond, right? So wait, just don't do that just yet. Step one, check the first link in the description because that's for free. And there I explain why certain Elliott wave setups. So I put trades on the chart, or not trades, like setups. And I explain why from an Elliott wave point of view, they're interesting. Okay. So there's a lot more information in the channel. So it's the first link in the description where I post potential Elliott wave setups and I explain why they are interesting, which might give you a step one. But of course, in a lot of detail, that's stuff that comes in Diamond, of course. But at least that's free. It's completely free public channel. You can just enter. Follow the steps if you click on the link, right? Go to Discord or Telegram, follow the steps, and I'll put you in the setups channel. Steve. Last question. Can you combine Elliott waves with a full-time job? Yes, absolutely, right? When you study Elliott waves, but you definitely need to put, like, Elliott waves takes a lot of time. So it's about, the question is, how much do you want it? So if you get up in the morning an hour earlier to study for an hour, 1 hour a day is probably doable, or at least like 5 hours, 6 hours a week, the weekend. So it should probably be more if you count the weekend in, maybe. But by all means, learning Elliott waves is going to probably take at least 1.5 to 2 years to be very good in Elliott waves and trading Elliott waves. So, and that is including having a job. Yeah, I had my own business when learning Elliott waves. I put a lot of time in. Took me about 2 years to be 100% comfortable trading Elliott waves. About 1.5 years, I was good with the theory, like I really got the hang of it. But then trading is the next thing. So you have time. You have time. So yeah, Tim. Yeah, we're looking for that low eventually. So if you have more questions, make sure to ask me in Discord or just write a comment below this video. I'll make sure to answer it. And yeah, that's going to be it. So time to continue my day. There will be an update tonight. So in a couple of hours again, right? Like we'll see what price does. Generally, the evening updates are more local time frame stuff. So let's see if we get anything interesting in the final few hours of this day. And tomorrow is Friday. And I think what did I have on Friday? Oh, no, I can live stream on Friday. Yeah. So tomorrow, of course, another live stream. So tonight, update. Tomorrow morning, update. Tomorrow afternoon, another live stream. So make sure you're there if you want to. And yeah, for now, trade safe. We covered all the scenarios and the probabilities. Check the analysis. And then I'm going to catch you at the next one.